So let me now present the Bridge to Pharma Group Mentoring Program. My goal when designing mentoring programs is to convey all the information that you need to become a valued regulatory writer. I provide theoretic training, but I also transmit any piece of knowledge based on what I've learned on the job by seeing great regulatory writers in action and horrible writers in action. Knowing what the team in a pharma company needs and how you can go beyond based on the service provider perspective and the client perspective that I have. And being very aware that a regulatory writer can impact the outcome of a drugs development program. The program sets the foundation, assuming that you don't have any prior pharma experience. But still, I will be teaching you things that some already established regulatory writers don't know. The mentoring lasts 8 weeks, each week dedicated to a topic, and it is built on 4 pillars. The first pillar are self-paced preparation materials, mostly webinars about the topic of the week, followed by a knowledge test. Then there are the group sessions during which we will discuss any questions about the topic of the week in a group of maximum 10 students. And this is also a great opportunity to network and connect with other peers. Then on selected weeks, you will have homework and you will have 3 individual mentoring sessions with me. The total time dedication is approximately 38 hours, and be aware that most of the homework and all individual sessions can be booked beyond the 8-week period. So in case you don't have that much time during these 8 weeks, you can shift this outside this time frame. Each week we will be covering one topic, starting with careers in medical writing, then clinical research and regulatory framework, the pharma world, an overview of regulatory writing documents, the regulatory document development process. We'll also show you how to market yourself via your CV and LinkedIn. Then we will review the functional experts in clinical development, which are all those experts that you will interact with when you write a regulatory document. And finally, I will help you to prepare for an interview, or if you're a freelancer, with a meeting with the client. So basically, I will let you know what employers and clients want, that you really can carefully prepare for those meetings. The preparation materials are to be reviewed before each group sessions, and they are mostly videos which I have prepared, during which I go through a specific topic, the topic of the week. So think of it as a recorded webinar. There are also a few reading materials, although those are really the minority. You can have a look at the program to see a balance between the videos and reading materials. And your time dedication to go through these materials is usually between 1 to 2 hours per week. And once you have watched those preparation materials, you will complete a knowledge check in form of a quiz. Each week there will be a group session, each dedicated to the topic of the week. Here are the dates of the sessions, but your work would actually start a week earlier when I release the preparation material. So you have 1 week to go through this preparation material. You write down any questions that you have, and then during the session, you can ask any questions that you have, and also follow-up topics, follow-up questions. And those sessions are 1 hour of duration, with the exception of these 2 here, regulatory document development process and functional experts in clinical development. Those have a workshop format and are 3 hours of duration. So this here, basically, I will go through the content in a workshop format, and then we will have some quizzes. We will also have group exercises. There will also be a simulation of a kickoff meeting. And I selected these 2 topics because they are key for you to become a great project manager and stakeholder manager during the document development process. And I actually delivered this workshop also to more experienced medical writer who found it really useful. And since this applies to any regulatory document that you write, there is a high value of this workshop. And finally, be aware that on the 17th of September, we will have a welcome session. And this session is intended to get to know each other, that you get to know your peers, so that then we know each other when we start in September 24, and we can just directly deep dive into the theory. On selected weeks, you will get homework. On one hand, for example, preparing for a job interview or a client meeting, depending whether you're looking for an employment or a freelance project. Another homework that you will need to complete is to prepare a kickoff meeting. And a kickoff meeting is something that you will conduct whenever you start writing a regulatory document. So this is something you will be doing throughout your career. And the total time dedication for the homework, all the homework that you need to complete, is 11 hours. The program also includes 3 individual mentoring sessions with me intended to accelerate your career. The first session towards a career medical writer is intended to review your path so far, your goals, and identify any gaps. In the second session, we will be discussing your CV and LinkedIn profile. So based on the webinars and on what you've learned also in the group session, you will update your CV and your LinkedIn profile to make it a pharma industry directed. You will then update this, send it to me. I will review it before the session, and during the session, I will provide you with feedback and will provide you any suggestion. And finally, you will have a third session where we will simulate either a job interview or a meeting with a client, depending on whether you are interested in getting employment or a freelance project. So again, here you will prepare in advance for this interview or for this meeting, and we will then simulate this. So I will pretend that I am your potential employer or your potential client. And each of these sessions is of 45 minutes of duration. You can have a look at the program for more details, but let me just provide you an example on how the first 2 weeks would look like. The week 1 topic is careers in medical writing, and it includes 75 minutes of webinars and an optional reading, which will be released September 17th. After watching the webinars and reading the materials, you complete the knowledge check. And the group session of this week will take place on September 24th. That same day, I will release the materials of the next topic, which is clinical research and regulatory framework. In this case, those are webinars of 120 minutes of duration. Once you've watched them, you complete the knowledge check, and then we will meet again on October 1st. And week 2 includes also homework, which you will have time to complete until end of November, which is to acquire your GCP certificate. And this GCP certificate you will obtain through an external provider, and it is a very important addition for your CV. So what are the goals of the program? As I mentioned earlier, I want to set the foundation for you to become an excellent medical writer. And this would include gaining clinical research knowledge as well as regulatory knowledge, that you understand the pieces in the puzzle, that you start preparing your compliance mindset, that you're fully aware on what you need to be careful with. Also, that you improve your project management abilities as well as your stakeholder management abilities, that you start gaining strategic perspective, to give you tips to be a good problem solver, as well as tips to improve your communication capacities. And I have designed this program with intention to transmit everything that I've learned since joining the pharma industry, all those things that I completely ignored when I was in academia. And most of this knowledge I actually gained on the job. So in case you go then to an interview, you can be confident of knowing a lot of things despite never having been a medical writer. The program is directed to starters without clinical research experience, but it goes beyond just starter levels, as I will show you how to avoid errors that some regulatory writers do and to make you understand what you need to do to excel. How will this mentoring prepare you for your future career? So, of course, in addition to everything that you will learn during these 8 weeks, you will have a CV adapted to the industry requirements. You will be prepared for an interview for an entry level or for a meeting with the client. And yeah, basically all those 8 weeks of training will give you insight into the real job challenges so that your potential employer does not need to start from scratch to onboard you. So this is something important that you will then need to transmit during an interview, all that you have learned, that you know what an SOP is, the importance of compliance and how to meet it, how to lead a document writing process, how to lead a kickoff meeting, where to find regulatory guidelines, what the expectations of your role are, who are the different stakeholders. And finally, if this is not enough, I could assist your future employer by providing in-house mentoring to support your onboarding. Since we are setting the ground during these 8 weeks, we will not have time to deep dive into any specific document, but you will have the basis to build on, either by enrolling on some MWA workshop or by enrolling to my other group mentoring program, the Trial Writer, which builds on the bridge to pharma. And setting this basis before actually deep diving into each of the document types is fundamental, because believe me, there are many active regulatory writers who are not delivering what the client or the employer needs. And at the end of the program, you will know what the client and employer needs, and this will help you to secure a project as a freelancer or a job as an employee. And just to conclude and related to the program goals, there are basically two different modus operandi how to be a regulatory writer. You can be a passive medical writer focused just on writing the document, or an active medical writer who is a project manager, who leads without mandate and everything that I've told you before. And why is it so important that you become an active medical writer? Well, first, remember what I mentioned earlier, that with some documents, I actually just spend 10% of my time actually writing the document, and 90% is dedicated to the process around that. And there is also something very important to keep in mind. That is, of course, the presence of AI, which can replace the writing part to some extent. But the project management aspect, the managing the stakeholder aspect, this is something that AI will not be able to replace. So it means that it is very important that you embrace the idea of being an active medical writer, because this is the part that will secure your job. And with this, we reach the end of this video. Just to sum up, some key information about the Bridge to Pharma program. The group mentoring part has a duration of 8 weeks, starting September 17th, the first session being on September the 24th. The homework individual sessions are likely to extend beyond that time. We will be a small group of maximum 10 students. If you are interested in enrolling, I leave you here the QR code. Remember, the registration closes September the 15th, and the price is 950 euros plus VAT as applicable, depending on your location and on your fiscal status. So I hope that this video was helpful and of interest, and hope to meet you soon.